I'm gonna read this story for who? For myself. And I'm gonna read it. I think you will learn some English vocabulary to this story. I don't know. I've found this story on Twitter. Okay, let's see. Is philia pity ever enough? Philia pity? What is philia pity? It's philia. Philia is a virtue emphasizing respect, obedience, and care for one's parents and ancestors, deeply rooted in Confucianism and other East Asian tradition. Its core principle shaping primary dynamic social structure and even political systems in many cultures. The concept involves not just material support but also emotional connection, honoring one's parents and ancestors in both life and death. Okay, I got it. I got it. It's look like it's a Muslim story. Okay, disclaimer, do not proceed if you do not like organic content that gives you new perspective. Okay, let's see. First one. I'm reading this story, so that is not me. So, I was born in 1991, the youngest of five siblings. My older brothers and sisters were raised by their father, who was my mother's first husband. So I never really saw them much. Okay. Most of the time, it would just be my mother and I in the house. My father would disappear for months at a time for work in Malaysia, not week, for work in Malaysia. My father would disappear for months at a time for work in Malaysia. When he was back, they hardly spoke. Okay, that's I don't know what it called. Okay, that's good. Maybe not. I think I realized pretty young that my mother wasn't like other mothers. She could be affectionate, but there were also bouts of race that were dark and cruel. Really? Dark or cruel? Okay. My first memory of my mother's race was when I was 7. I was being naughty, disturbing her. Until the telephone she was holding flew into the side of my head. My mother swore it was an accident. It slipped from my hands, saying, "But this was just the start. This was just the start. This was just the start." Okay, let's see. Let's see. What the heck is going on? When I was 15, she kicked me out of the house in the middle of the night. "You get out of my house, ungrateful like your brother and sister." I remember sheltering at a closed MRT station. I somehow managed to contact my uncle and I found my way to his house. Still, I found myself going back to her. She is my mother after all. From the moment I started working, she made me take over all the utilities and mortgage payments on top of giving her half of my salary every month. This is so you don't waste money and spending on useless things. So after a decade of work, I barely had anything to show up for it. I think I can say if you're wearing Muslim dresses, that doesn't mean it's Islamic teaching. I think her mother, she had not Islamic teaching how to raise children. So yeah, but you have to love your mother and father, I mean parents, because through them you came to this earth. You have to show respect even they're doing any bad thing to you. Yeah, you can away from them, but you have to you know respect them and always care about them. That's the responsibility for every Muslims who has parents. If their parents is cruel and lots of bad things they have, yeah, you can you can be upset for that. I can say that, but don't be rude on them for that. Just be humble with them and give them understanding. Okay, let's think. I was working as a primary school teacher, which meant long hours, and she would guilt trip me for spending my free time outside the house. What is that? Guilt trip, always spending. Okay, her mother saying, always spending time outside doing God knows the what, always embarrassing me. What people will say, you are a terrible girl with no morals. What is that, bro? Always spending time outside doing God knows what, bro. I think I'm not understanding their English also. Doing God knows what. Okay, there, there you go. They brought up the God things. They will blame the Islam. Maybe I didn't. I mean, I didn't read whole story. I'm reading right now. So people will say you are a terrible girl with no manners. I mean, her mother is saying, yeah, it's a big problem in Muslim household. I mean, so-called Muslim household who doesn't have, I mean, who don't have any moral ethics from Islam. Doesn't get. I mean, it's all about culture. It becomes culture, not Islamic culture, but it's a bad culture in Muslim society. Parents always talk with their children like they're slave. But Islam doesn't teach that. Islam doesn't teach that. Islam is very, you know, if people would have every lesson from Islam, then this world will be beautiful for Muslims, you know. And I mean, there you go. Our mother wear hijab, wears hijab, but she doesn't have Islamic values in her life. Maybe he prays Salah. Sorry, she prays Salah. Maybe, but Islam is not all about Salah. You have to be. You need to make your character better. In front of Allah, and be humble with everyone. Yeah, sometimes you will be angry. You will be. You would have lots of issues, but people can people can learn through failure, through failing things. Let's see. Okay, you can probably imagine that I didn't have that many friends either. Okay, she spent a lot of time, okay, outside of the home for her work. Many years later, my uncle passed away. She forbade me from attending the wake, saying he was a bad person who tried to take me away from her, and I didn't need to visit someone like that. I cried silently for him in my room. Yeah, bro, you know, I'm sure you must be thinking, why didn't you run away? Why didn't you stand up for yourself? Aren't you too old for this? In hindsight, man, what type of English is this, bro? It just seemed like the illogical and obvious option. It just really never occurred to be at all. Mm. I guess I told myself I wasn't going to be like one of those ungrateful kids who abandoned their parents, especially since everyone else in my life have left seems to have left us. My siblings had already done, which my mother never failed to remind me. My father kinda did that too by hiding away in Malaysia whenever he could. I wanted to prove to myself that I could love her unconditionally in spite of her. I almost treated it as a test. The worse, the worse her treatment of me, the purer my love was. But eventually, even that wore out. The day I finally left, it was after one of our fights. Like every other one-sided argument we had, it ended with me being chased out of the house for the night. Expect this time I didn't come home. I stayed with some relatives for a few days before hoping to a friends. I called in all my favors and moved around for a year. It was one of the hardest times in my life. I had savings. I had no savings despite years of working. My only bank account was joined on with her name. I didn't want to use any money from that in case she could track me down. There were times when she would harass my relatives asking for me. Each time she would scream that I was terrible child, ungrateful daughter, and that I never should have been born. Bukalaka pala. Okay, bro. I think on this story, I'm saying mother has lots of fault. That is not, what it called. It is not aligning with Islamic values. Islamic values, you have to give right to your children, to your husband, to your wife. You cannot force them to do, lots of things. But for justice, for moral things, you have to do. You have to sometimes, you know, be, not cruel. I mean, you need to make them accountable sometimes. That's the thing. When you do, crime, what would do a government? They will, they will, what it called, bro? I'm not getting any words right now. I mean, they would punish you. That's the thing. Okay, it was hardly the first time she would say these things, but months of distance from her had made me realize that this was no longer acceptable. It was as if a fog had lifted. I eventually filled for a PPO, personal protection order, when she started harassing me at my place of work. Yeah, in Islam, there will be Sharia code. You can go there if your child, and if your mother is really cruel and she's doing some bad thing to you, she's harassing you, then you can go to Sharia code and you can get justice from them. All equal in Islam. Everyone is equal, but you have to respect to your parents always, even they're bad. But if they're going against Islam, you know that's the other things to discuss. Let's see. I changed school, moved to a new neighborhood, opened a new bank account, and year became two, then three. Eventually, it seemed like she had to stop trying to find me. Hmm. Do I still love my mother? Despite everything, I think I still do. I can explain it even it to myself. She's my mother after all. Okay. I would always wonder why was she like that? What made her like that? Did she have an undiagnosed mental condition we didn't know about? Yes. I tried to analyze. I tried to psychoanalyze every part of her personality, explain away all her abuse as due to some childhood trauma or medical issue. The thought of her treating me this way just because was incomprehensible to me. Yet I cannot forgive her. Forgiveness is a virtue I have not yet reached, man, reached, and reached, reached. Am I filing? Okay, unfilial. Okay, depending on who you ask, the answer might be yes. I grew up in a society where philia piety was seen as a virtue. I mean, this is an Indonesian story maybe. Heaven is because there is Indonesian thing, and maybe this is an Indonesian language. Igat sirongga itu di bahwa telapak kaki bebu. Heaven is at the sole of your mother's feet. Yeah, that's true. That's why you have to be respect to them, respect to her. That's the teaching of Islam. But your mother is doing something bad to you, then that also have solution. There also some Islamic things work, like you'll get justice through from your mother. I mean, yeah, Islam is a I mean, if you understand Islam deeply, then you'll understand. If I'm a dad and I'm, you know, oppressing my children, doing and forcing them to do what they need to do, and I'm cruel on them, then it's not Islamic teaching. You know, Islamic teaching is not like that. Always, I mean, as a Muslim, if your parents, mother, father, or your children, you have to be humble. You have to make yourself better in characteristic, be patient, and see what is happening and see justice according to Islam. Islam is a just. For years I worried about what people would think of me, but the older I get, the more I realize that relationships are a two-way street. Whether it's with one's family, partners, or friends, it was a lesson I could only learn without my mother's influence over me. Mac. Okay, maybe I'm a bad daughter, like you always said, but I would rather be a bad daughter for now if it means I can get my life back. Life back. Compassion for others is the key to a happy life, but that compassion must include oneself. The Dalai Lama, The Art of Happiness. The Art of Happiness. Okay, stay oak. Salaryman. Okay, that's it. Finished. Okay, that's finished, bro. I think her mother's values not align with Islam. that I can say. But people will, I mean, abused child, it's not teaching of Islam. It's not teaching of Islam. That's the thing you have to know about Islam. And also, there is no place for pedophilia in Islam. That's haram. Every scholar agree with that. And many people will say, oh, why then Prophet Muhammad sallallahu alaihi wasallam married to Aisha at the age of, I mean, her age of 6 or 9. I don't know about that age. They will ask lots of question about that. Yeah, first of all thing, Aisha, I mean, you know, Aisha radiallahu anha, she was the greatest woman and she was the scholar. She was the scholar and she gave her consent to get married, but until her puberty, she didn't sleep with Prophet Muhammad, peace be upon him, you know, and she doesn't have, I mean, she didn't have any children in her life, you know, and many people will say our Prophet was, I cannot say then mm, word for him. I don't know. They don't understand the logical things. Even ChatGPT can give them better answer. ChatGPT knows well, and I see lots of answer. Just they'll say, oh, I mean, in Muslim culture, if that is, to get married a 6 year old, 9 years old girl, then it's forbidden in Islam. They're doing wrong things, and if you are saying, oh, then it's an Islamic teaching. No, bro, it is not. It is not Islamic teaching. They made this culture. Oh, you need to get married. I mean, that's a even in the Quran, Allah says, I mean, give them choice, give them right. I mean, you have to give them right. I mean, you have to give right to, how to say that? You have to give them right. I mean, to women, they have rights. They can say, I don't want to marry with this guy. And until their puberty, you cannot get married in Islam. That's the true thing. Puberty. I don't know when that will happen. That's the Islamic things. But people don't understand. Oh, they're married. You have to get married to 19 years old. Yeah, I think in science now science figure out uh, until 18 they cannot get married because that will be the problem for pregnancy. Yeah, that happens. I can say that because people are not like older generation, like ancient times people. We are just now we have just now new civilization, and we people don't work. We sit all time day all day. I think there is lots of problem in there, and in Muslim household there is lots of problem. But I mean, I can say my family, I mean, you can say my family is Muslim family, but they don't practice most of the thing of Islam. Just they pray Salah, and they fasting, they do Umrah. That's it. And they give charity. I don't know for what, but they have. I mean, they worship people. What do people will say? Most of the people like that, and it comes. I mean, this thinking like worship people, man. I mean, showing people everything. Like I'm doing it for what people will say. So that's the worshipping people. So most of the Muslims make this mistake. So a true Muslim cannot be like that, cannot be pedophile, cannot be rude to other people, cannot abuse children. They always humble. A true Muslim not so called Muslim, who has the name of Muslim and they're doing bad things. They are doing everything. May Allah guide them, may Allah guide us. That always I can say. But people, what people will do, that they will align with these people, with those people. I mean, if I am doing zina, they will align Islam. Oh, he is doing zina. Or if I'm marrying to a girl who has, I mean, who had puberty, I mean, who reached puberty, if I'm married to her, then they will say me I'm a pedophile. I mean, lots of things they'll say. I mean, in in Islam, you have to, you have that responsibility. You have to give right. You have to give the rights to women about, about their marriage consent. Like, if I want to get married to a girl or woman, girl, I mean, government say who is the girl who is under 18. If I want to get married to a girl, I want, first I want her consent of marriage, you know and I'm not like that. I mean, a true Muslim cannot be like that. Oh, uh, I mean, she's little, I mean, little girl, 15 years old, 16 years old. I'm not like that. I know how to get married. And you have to you have to get married to a mature person. Mature, I mean, mature will get come with age. That's it. I could share lots of things. I mean, in Islam, Islamic teaching is too good, bro. I mean, I hate those people who are getting married to older girls. I hate, and Islam hates them. And in Islam, that is haram. That called pedophilia. If that girl wants to get married, she wants that, then that's fine. That's the thing that government say in this world. People say, I mean, you can do whatever you want. I mean, I've seen the 15, 16, 8, 17, and 18 years old. Forget about 18, sorry. 14, 15, 16, 17 years old girls are doing zina. Zina means they're doing sex without getting married, and they're doing date, room date, and lots of things they're doing. I've seen that, and I've heard lots of things about that. So that's not a teaching of Islam. If she wants to get married, so, but there will be a problem. Many people will say, I mean, if a boy or girl wants to get married at the age of 15, 16, 17, I think when I was maybe 17, 18, 2018. So I was born 2002. So my age will be like 16, 15 or 16. That time I wanna get married. I wanted to get married. You know, that time our body was changing, so that's why. And also I need what to say, bro. I have no word for this, but I'm gonna say every single time. I have to practice, bro. I have to practice. So that time I wanna get married, but I don't have. I didn't say anyone. I didn't say to anyone. I don't know about girls, but I can say about myself. When I was 16, I wanna get married. 16, 17. But many people will have problem who are literally liberal. Oh, you cannot get married at the age of 16, but I want to get married. That is my choice. That was my choice. But I didn't have enough money or maturity to save my my family. So that was the problem. I don't know about the girl, but I'm saying about myself. In that time, I wanted to get married. Bro, it's crazy world. I mean, liberal people are crazy. I mean, one other side, one time they will say, "Oh, I have freedom. Whatever I can do." Other side they'll say, "You cannot do that things." Like, if anyone like me, as like 16-year-old boy and girl wanna get married, it's their choice. But they'll say, "No, you cannot get married because you are underage. You are 18. I mean, you are not 18." Yeah, I mean, I can say you can get married at the age of 16, 17, because that time, if you have that, intention coming through I mean, that thing's coming into your head, "Oh, I want to get married." So then you can get married, but don't get child in that age. After 19, you need to get, I mean, you need to uh you need to try to get child, because in that age, that will be the medical issue, there will be lots of medical issue. That's that I think. So I talk too much, bro. 30 minutes. I've been talking for 30 minutes. That's crazy. I'm sharing my thoughts on marriage, on Islamic values. Okay, that's the thing. In Islam, pedophilia is haram. It's haram, prohibit. I mean, forbidden. You cannot get married. First, you need to give them rights. I mean, if you see Islam, you will see feminist. I mean, Islam is more feminist than those so-called feminists. Islam is more feminine. I mean, Islam is more feminist than other feminists. I mean, the so-called secular feminist, because Islam gave lots of rights to women. I mean, there is of consent, what they can wear, but if they try to practice Islam, ah, practice Islam, then they only can wear, I mean, clothes. There is rules in in job sector, in companies, in office, in government. There is laws. So Islam has the law. You have to wear dresses. If you're women, you have to wear burqas, niqab. লাগে দিও না যান বাইরে থেকে. And as a man, you have to lower your gaze first. As a man, you have to lower your gaze. Then women must cover themselves first. Lower your gaze for Muslim man. That is the rules of Islam. And Islam gives, like, when you want to get married as a man, you have to give money to that woman. Mahar, it called mahar. I mean, in our society, I mean, we have Muslim society, but that is not purely Muslim. I mean purely Islamic. They got, what it called, যৌতুক যৌতুকের ইংলিশ কি, translator, যৌতুক what it called, যৌতুক sorry, dowry. Okay, in our society there is dowry system, has in uneducated area. and most of the area, you know. That's the cultural thing, that is not Islamic thing. Islamic thing is you have to give mahar to women. Yeah, it's a new system. I mean, they gave, I mean, everyone signed that agreement of mahar, but they don't give the mahar to that uh girl, woman. I mean, if I'm married, I mean, I'm giving you an example. If I mean, my society like this, I'm giving them the example. I'm getting married, I'm in that society. I'm getting married with a woman, and I need to sign an agreement. You have to give them mahar, I mean dowry, to to your wife, this amount, based on your, uh, capability. So and other side, after this agreement, they don't, I mean, I'm not gonna give the whole money. I'm not gonna give any money to her. That's this Islam, sorry, not Islamic thing. That's the society thing. But what will happen, I'm gonna ask them, oh, what do you want to give me? Give me a motorcycle, give me a car, because I'm marrying to a daughter. Give me this house, and decorate my house. Lots of thing say I can say, if I'm in that society, in that so-called Muslim society. But Islam is not like that. You have to pay all of your mahar when you are getting married, right way. But without this, I mean, that is not fair. That is not Islamic thing. Then Allah will punish you. That is not justice. You have to first give her mahar, and you cannot ask for her from her parents, oh, please give me dowry. I mean, there is a lots of way to say that things, but I'm saying that dowry things, you cannot ask them to take dowry. That is totally haram in Islam. I mean, Islam give most of the solution, but Muslim don't take it seriously. They are making their own things, and they're just praying salah 5 times a day, and doing hajj, and doing charity, doing fasting. For who? For most of the Muslims are doing for showing people, not for sake of Allah. And also, many Muslims are like, I need to get married a virgin woman, girl. I mean, many girl wanted to get married, and men are very, they're very crazy, and they wanted to get married to a girl who is 16, 17. But those girl wanted to get married. That's the okay things. But the boys, I mean, the man's age is 24, 25. That's crazy for me. I think for 16 years, 17 years old girl, I mean, in Bangladesh, in this age, most of the girls wanna get married. Most of the girls. Some girls wanted to make their um, career, but in that age, most of the girls wanna get married, especially in villages, in village areas. So yeah, I wanna say for 16, 17 years, 18 years old girls, I mean, they need to get married to 20, 21, 22 years old mans, you know. That would be good. Until, I mean, many women, girls forced to get married. I mean, parents don't give them any rights to What do you want to do? You want to get married to this man? Doesn't give, I mean, they don't give any chance to that girl and woman to say their consent, consent. That's the big issue in society. But in Islam, you need that consent. You need. If girl is, I mean, yeah, you need consent of that girl, woman, until you cannot get married. That will be forcefully. That will have. That will happen forcefully. That will be happened forcefully. But that will be injustice. Injustice or injustice? Injustice. Okay, that will be injustice according to Islam, because you you didn't give any rights to that woman, lady. That is not Islamic thing. I'm gonna give every rights to my partner, my sister, my parents, I mean my mother, because Islam teaches me good things, not bad things. Lord, don't take dowry, be be humble with everyone, don't be pedophile, don't be um, I mean, and I mean, when you want to get married, when you are marrying to a woman, please ask her their consent. Is she uh I need this, সে কি রাজি আছে বিয়েতে? Is she agree to this marriage? You know, agree. If she does, then it's okay. But she doesn't, then don't get married. That will be injustice according to Islam. You cannot force to anyone to get married. Okay, this society is getting anti-Islamic, you know. I don't like this society, this so-called Muslim society, where people are being pedophile, and pedophile in Islam, it's haram, bro. It's haram. What I can say? If I would have power, if there would Sharia law, not like Afghanistan. I mean, Afghanistan uh, has some Sharia law, but not fully. Like, you have to give rights to women to get educate themselves. I mean, not secular education where they will do job. No, I'm not. And Islam doesn't say that. Islam says man should provide them. Man should provide them. Women must be educated because they needs to raise their children. They needs to, you know, fight the prejudice things. They need to fight mental things, many things. That's why they need education, and Islam gave them rights to get educate themselves. But Afghanistan are not doing that. I don't know why. I don't know why they're not doing that. That's not a good thing. I mean, women need to educate themselves. That's the Islamic teaching. And Islam, I mean, what was the first ayah Allah revealed on Prophet Muhammad sallallahu alaihi wasallam in the Quran? That was the first ayah, like Iqra rabbi bismika allazi khalaq. Read in the name of Allah. Read. I mean, here is the, you can get lots of meaning, but read means, study, educate yourself, become better. It's only for, I mean, for both, not for men, for both. So if you are not getting, I mean, if you are not learning as a Muslim, then you are not Muslim. And if you are not giving rights to women, men, to give them to get education, that would be worse, bro. That is against Islam. That is not Islamic values. Yeah, Afghanistan has lots of Sharia laws, maybe like burqa things. I don't know how to say. I mean, I wanna be good person. I wanna be full Islamic. Don't be extremist. How people became extremists? Do you know that? Because they don't understand Islam fully. They just say like Ikma Rabbi Bismika Allazi Khalaq. I said that ayah to you. I mean, read read in the name of Allah. Read. I mean, read in the name of Allah. Just they will read. They won't learn anything. They won't understand anything. I mean, there is the Iqra. I mean, there is lots of definition. So scholars gave us. I think it means education. Get education, bro. Get education. Understand the Quran. If you are not understanding Quran, then you will be extremist, bro. You will be the extremist person ever if you don't understand a Quran. And that's why my parents always told me like there is a in the Quran there is a ayah. I mean, listen to your parents. It means if they're giving you any advice, then get that. I mean, obey the obey your parents. Allah said in the Quran, but it doesn't mean if they're doing wrong and if they're saying if they are giving you bad advice, you need to take it. No, Allah Allah doesn't say that. Allah didn't say that in the Quran. Be humble with parents. Don't be cruel with them. Don't be disrespect with them. And I mean, that's the teaching. But that ayah always tell Muslim parents, "Oh, you are not listening to me? Then you'll go to Jahannam." Like this. They are not saying Jahannam, but then why we are not good Muslim? They say like that. You know, they're doing blackmailing through that ayah, but it doesn't mean like that. Yeah, I need to listen to my parents when they are right, good, and I have to be humble with them. I cannot harm them in any way. If they're harmful for me, I cannot harm them. That's the Islamic teaching, bro. I need clarification because most of them Muslims doesn't understand these things. I mean, if you're parent, then your children has rights or lots of rights. You have to give them according to if you wanna practice Islam. But there is like parents are parents like they're king and we are I mean parents like king and children like slave. Many Muslim household like that, and that is not Islamic things. That is not Islamic things. I don't know what to say. It's almost an hour, bro. An hour. Goodbye. Masalam. Assalamu alaikum. So practice Islam. Don't be pedophile. Don't be rude to anyone. Don't disrespect your parents. Even they're bad for you. Don't disrespect them. Because that's the Islamic teaching. Be humble with them. Be patient. Yeah, if you are getting any injustice things, then you can go to Sharia court. If there is a Sharia court, but in our country there is not a Sharia court. There is no Sharia court. You know, if parents are abusing their children, that's the bad thing, right? That's not Islamic teaching. If there will be Sharia court, then According to Islam, parents will get punished because they abused their children. If that proved, don't be abuser, don't be unjust, be just, and give rise to women to get education, not so-called education where they'll get job. I'm not saying that. Every human needs education for their life, to understanding to everything, like Quran, understand the Quran, understand the reality, understand the business. Yeah, women can do job, women can do business, but under the women, where is all our women? I mean, in Islam there is a separation things. Girls can do girls things, men can do men's things. That's the Islamic thing, we cannot mix. I mean, there is no free mixing in in Islamic things. So women can do job, but not in the environment of men, and men cannot do job in women in environment. Where is most of the women? I mean, every everyone is women, you know. The men cannot do their job. Yes, will be lots of there will be happening there will there would happen something bad to women, because men's always think about sex. I can say that because I'm a man. I know how men thinks, and scientists discovered men always thinking about sex when they are doing anything with women. If they're hanging out, they're going to date, you know men are always think like that. But I don't, and women don't think like that. They want to get understand to their partners, then they will close to him. After that they can talk about sex. But beginning of the relationship, men always think about sex when they see women. That's the man's psychology. I can say that. That's why Islam says, I mean, Allah says in the Quran, lower your gaze first, then women will cover themselves. First, men need to cover themselves. I mean, lower their gaze, lower their eyes. Don't see women. Don't see women. You know, that's the teaching of Islam. That's it. Assalamu alaikum. Lots of things I need to share. Don't be bad people, bro. Don't be bad for society. Be logical.